Hi.
Hey,
You look amazing.
so much.
I love this setup. I've got you can see my screen hanging off here. Um, I'm so happy you're here. I wanted to see if I can pin a comment and if we can drive folks to donate. Does Healing Black Women have a Venmo?
We don't have a Venmo. Hold on, let me stop before I cut it off the comments. I'm pressing play.
Let's see. Let's see. All right, well, we can get started and then we can just mention in the comments how people can support your organization. And I'll just say, hi, everyone. Thank you for dialing in. If you're coming over from the Eventbrite stream, we have Laqwanda Roberts-Buckley from Healing Black Women here. She's going to be taking the reins, and I'm going to be her ready participant in this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. Welcome, everyone, to a mental wellness moment. I am super excited. My name is Laqwanda Roberts-Buckley. I am the founder of Healing Black Women. I am also a mental health clinician, a certified life coach, a Reiki practitioner. I host my own show on YouTube channel Laqwanda's Heart called the Livestream Wellness Series. And I'm also a member of the board of directors for a local nonprofit that focuses on mental health and homelessness.
So when do you sleep?
I do sleep.
Oh my gosh.
I do sleep. A part of what was so important for me to doing this this segment with you guys is that there is so much going on, and just in everyday life, if we strip away everything that's happening and just look at everyday life, there's so much going on. When I tell people what I do, the first reaction is, "What do you? When do you sleep?" And self-care and mental health is so important to me. I also, among everything else that I am an individual who manages bipolar 1 disorder as well as PTSD. So I am an individual who has a psychiatrist. I am an individual who has a psychologist, and I have an amazing team that supports me. Tonight's conversation is really about diving in on how to center ourselves. But also tonight's conversation is really bringing highlight also to another organization, NOMO organization, and you can find the link to donate in my the link in my bio here on Instagram. And NOMO is an organization that focuses on empowering trans women of color. And they do that through community outreach, through support groups, as well as doing with scholarships as well. And so I really wanted to support that organization because last year HRC reported that 19 individuals who identified as part of the transgender community or gender non-conforming community were victims to violence and lost their lives. And that's one too many. And we have to say their names and support organizations that are bringing awareness that individuals are losing their lives. Also, we have to, in this stage in our country's development, really focus on what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. That is the blatant racism, the blatant racial injustices, the blatant police brutality that is taking place and is taking lives, particularly of people who look like me. Mm-hmm. It's been a very intense past couple of weeks, an intense, month for all of us as we digest everything that is going on and all of these things that our communities of colors have been facing and dealing with and battling for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the right to exist, the right to live. And it can become overwhelming with trying to figure out, how do I navigate?
Yes.
You know, how do I navigate when there's so much being thrown at you? Not just through social media and the media, but when you step outside, because we're also dealing with COVID as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I navigate this space and take care of myself and still support my communities? How do I navigate this space and still have those difficult conversations and make sure that I as an individual am okay?
Mm-hmm.
And those are some of the things that I want to really want to talk about tonight. The first thing that I would say to anyone right now is pause. Everything is so intense because everything is so real and people are losing their lives. And it is scary. It can make you angry and you feel all these emotions and we don't always know what to do with them. And so it's important to pause. I have to pause myself. I have to pause, take a breath, and ask myself, where am I right now? So if you're feeling that you're overwhelmed, everything is, hitting you, and you feel like it's been so much, it is absolutely nothing wrong with pulling away for a moment. Put your phone down for that day. Don't go on social media that day. Don't read an article that day. Find your favorite show to watch. I know we're limited in what we're doing because of COVID, but separate yourself from things that are taking you off center.
Mm.
And that brings us right into the crucial point of understanding how you react and respond to things. I know personally when there is a murder in my community, and I know there are videos, I know there are images that are shown on social media. For my mental wellness, I have to make a conscious decision. I can't click play.
Mm.
I can't do that. I know that some individuals are able to do that, and they're in a form of advocacy where they are able to do that, and they have to do that in order to move forward with an agenda, with the agenda to move towards equality and racial justice in this country. For my personal mental health, I know that when I start to see things, I have to pull back.
Mm.
So I pull back immediately and I give myself 24 to 48 hours. And I sit with, what am I feeling? And I'm honest with myself. If I am angry, I am angry. And one night I honestly, just because a part of what I do, I share my own experiences. I was talking to my partner and I told him, I hate that I have to do this because we did a discussion with Healing Black Women about protecting your mind and peace as while being Black in America. We had to do a discussion about being a better ally against racism and racial injustice. We had to do a discussion about supporting our kids and understanding how racism and racial injustices affects them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I hate that I have to do this. I hate I have to tell people to treat me like a human. I hate that I have to tell people stop killing us. And I broke and I cried and I released. And sometimes you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself. Sometimes we feel like if we release, then we're not being strong. Sometimes if we release, we feel like we're being weak because we should be able to hold it together. We should be able to persevere. We should be able to take that next step. And sometimes the step that you need to take is a step back so that you can assess yourself and heal yourself so that you can move forward. And we're not always taking that time for ourselves because we all face things in life. We all do. But when you put on top of that the things that are systematically in place to oppress a people, Black people, Indigenous individuals, immigrants, how we treat people systematically, and you put that on top of what they're dealing with. There's people in this country afraid to reach out for support because they're concerned about, if I do, will I get deported? Will I get separated from my family? There are people who are afraid to reach out for support because if they do, they're afraid, okay, is this person going to respect how I identify? Are they going to misgender me? Are they going to say that, who I am from birth is a sin? Are they going to condemn me? Are they going to judge me? All those things causes people to pull back and freeze and not reach out because we have not created a society to where we are allowing people to be open. And we're not creating a society where we're allowing people to feel free. June 19th is the celebration of the abolishment of slavery. And there are shirts that float around in the community that says free-ish. Free-ish. Because you're still having to fight. You're still having to fight. And, I tell people, and, when we speak about Dr. Martin Luther King, I remind people, I was like, he was an unarmed Black man that was murdered by a racist white man. It's 2020. What has changed?
Yeah. Not enough.
Yeah. And it's devastating to feel that. And it's also devastating to know that our trans community, and particularly the individuals of color, are dying, are victims of violence, and their death isn't even honored in the form of identifying them for who they really are. Yeah. They're misgendered in the press. They're misgendered in the press. They're not even respected in death. And we have to hold those outlets accountable. And it's so much. And it hits your core and it shakes you. And you ask yourself, what do I do? What do I do with all of this? This is too much. And understand, for anyone who's watching, it is okay if this is too much for you. Because guess what? It is too much.
Yeah.
You know, I deal with people who are in crisis almost every day on my job. And then I step outside and I look at what's happening in these communities. And I say, this is too much. You know, so we want to take that pause when things are too much. We want to become aware of how we are feeling when we see and hear certain things. That's a part of your internal check-in. If I see something, is that making me so upset that I can't balance myself? If I read something, is that making me experience anxiety? If I notice something or hear something, is that bringing me to tears? Those are what we call triggers. You know, understand the things that affect your emotions in a way to where you can become off-centered. And mental wellness looks different for everybody. You know, and the path to mental wellness is different for everybody. There's no straight line. None. No straight line. No, okay, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way, or it's not going to work. Everyone's situation is different, so everyone's path is different. But the basis is finding and identifying is what is center for you. And 2 is don't compare yourself to other people. And we say this over and over again.
That's easier said than done. Yeah.
That's the biggest trap. Comparing ourselves to other people on social media who are taking a nice picture. And this is a personal, just transparency. There were so many days I took pictures. I used to be a natural hair vlogger. I would take pictures and do hairstyles and do videos, turn off the camera, get in the bed and cry.
Oh.
Because I was dealing with a depressive episode. And I would just have enough energy to get up, to do that little activity, and then get back in bed. A smiling picture means nothing.
Yeah.
A smiling picture is just that. You never know what's going on internally. So don't compare yourself to, I should be doing this like that person. I should be doing this like this person. Because I did the same thing. I'm a mental health advocate. I love what I do. And I was like, I should be doing this like them. And they're doing that. How come I can't do that? And one thing, and as much as I love those individuals and those platforms, I had to unfollow them because I realized I was comparing myself so much to what they were doing and what I wasn't doing. It was having a negative impact on me, and my self-esteem started to be affected because I started to feel like I should be doing more. Not understanding that what I was doing was good enough for me in that moment.
That's really valuable right now to hear too, because I think we're comparing ourselves to each other's activism, and like we all want to be showing up, and some of us are hitting walls where we're emotionally drained, and it's hard to look at pictures and hard to look at articles, but it feels important to do that. And so I just am hearing so loud the part about like finding your center and like knowing when it's okay to pause. And you deal with such extreme versions of this all day, every day, outside of the pandemic and outside of the civil rights movement right now. And you can do it. So that's so inspiring.
You know, a part of me being able to do it, juggling all these things, is that I identify my realities. And even last night, when I was, working and, I was doing something, I had to call someone and I had to reach out for support. And I had to say, this is how I'm feeling right now in this moment. Because your pause may have to take place when you're at work. Your pause may have to take place when you're out in the grocery store and someone says something to you because you got a Black Lives Matter button on.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to separate. And you need to deal with those emotions. People sometimes feel like they don't always want to call out what they're experiencing. If I'm feeling sad, I say I'm feeling sad, because that allows me the opportunity to know what I'm fighting up against. You know, and you know, other things when it comes to dealing with you know, especially now, you know, as you said, comparing my activism to someone else's. If it gets too much for you, identify the people, because we all know the people in our communities, or look for the people in your communities who you know are doing that work. And 9 times out of 10, that individual has identified a call to action. Find out what the call to action is and do the call to action. Is it sign a petition? Is it send emails? Is it support these organizations who are supporting the causes? Is it, you know, sending text messages, making phone calls? You know, it's the community moving together. Everyone has a vital role. Everyone has to acknowledge and accept the role of the individual. You know, we all have a vital role to play in the things that we, you know, in the things that we do. Other things that you can do as far as your mental wellness is don't do it alone. You know, if you're not ready to go to therapy, and you know, I do recommend therapy for individuals, but if you're not ready to go to therapy, find a support group, find peers, people with like experiences that you have, and talk about what's going on. Find groups on Facebook with similar interests that you have, and discussing things. There were so many nights where I was absolutely alone, and I went on Instagram and would make a post, and I would sit there and I would talk to the ladies that were up, or someone in Facebook, and I would make you know, I'm not feeling this well, and you know, I would have people respond, and so I had some level of interaction. Now, if you are a person, I always like to say this, if you are a person experiencing a crisis right now and you need support, you know, our younger generation doesn't like to talk a lot. And so, but there is support there. There's Trevor Text, you know, and you can text START to 678-678. You can also text the crisis text line home to 741-741. If you are experiencing, you feel like you're experiencing something and you don't know what it is. I'm sad, I get a little jittery, you know, you have some questions, you can take a free mental health screening online. That screening is available at mhanational.org. They have a depression test, a postpartum test, anxiety, bipolar, PTSD. And since they launched that program, they've had over 4.5 million people take screenings.
Wow.
And so people want to know, you know, what is going on with me? You know, for our members of, you know, of our communities, you know, and you're looking for additional resources, and you want to take that step to look for a provider. There's the National Queer and Trans Therapists of Color Network. There's the Gay and Lesbian Medical Association Provider Directory. Or you can go to Psychology Today. I found my provider at Psychology Today, and what I saw, they were an individual of color, and in their profile, they have specifically identified as an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. And you can call those places and ask them. Because I called and I was like, are you guys? And if nobody had an answer for me, okay, no, thank you. You know, because it's so important that you are preparing yourself and getting the appropriate support that you need, because you don't need to be in therapy across the room from someone who's going to reject you when you feel rejected by the world outside. That's supposed to be a safe space for you. And so there's a little work involved, to do that. And also be mindful of what you tell yourself. Affirmations. Oh, somebody asked, the mental health screening website, even if you Google the word mental health screenings, Mental Health America's website is going to be the first link that pop up.
That's easy.
So, and they're absolutely free. So think about affirmations. What are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? Since 2000, I was hospitalized again in 2017 for suicidal ideation with a plan. And from that point, for 2 years, I was going through a depressive episode as my team was attempting to shift my medications. And I had created a wall, and this is for anyone out there, a great project for yourself when you have difficulty saying positive things about yourself. Text the people who support you, go to the group that you're a part of on social media and ask them, could you please tell me 2 positive things you think of me? And they will send you those positive things. My team did that for me. My support team did that for me. And I got poster boards and I wrote, you are at the top. And then someone wrote, great social worker, wonderful mother. And then I wrote their name beside it. And I had my entire wall covered. So every morning when I woke up, when I didn't have something positive to say about myself, I saw the words of the people who cared and loved me. And that helped me get through that moment. And so, be mindful of what you're saying to yourself and don't give up. My first round with therapy wasn't the best. But I found someone that I've been with now for 3 years. And, you learn, it's a work in progress. Mental wellness we're not taught to take care of our mental health. We're taught to take care of our physical health. So, we have to do those steps to make sure that we're whole. And it can always start with a moment. And that moment can simply be to pause and ask myself, where am I now? And where do I want to be? And reach out for help always.
You make it sound so easy and graceful, and I know it's not, but it's so grounding to hear it broken down like that, because I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that this has been a completely surreal time of learning and having difficult but really important conversations with all different kinds of people, and an overwhelming amount of information coming at us. And so pausing is going to be my new word that I say to myself.
Yeah, pause. And I would say this final thing is, don't be ashamed of yourself if you're learning.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed if you're having to relearn how to, unlearn some negative things and learn how to treat people. Don't be ashamed if you're having to learn how to take care of your mental health. Those are not things to be ashamed of. Those are things that you should be proud of, because you've taken a step to improve your life for the better. And when you improve yourself and care for yourself, then you're able to go out there and make a difference in someone else's life.
That is so generous of you to say. I appreciate that a lot. I'm going to wrap us up to respect your time and thank you for your wisdom. And I've gotten to have a few conversations with you the last few weeks, and every single time I walk away feeling like my body is lighter. So you are such a gift, And to anyone who's watching this either now or I think when we download it, it'll be on Laqwanda's Instagram channel. But please check out Laqwanda, support their organization. She has a link in her bio where they're collecting donations, and everyone should follow you. You are incredible. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
And I think we have a conversation with San Francisco Pride next, right?
I didn't mean to make these back to back. I'm going to go into it and be like, Peter, I need a moment. I'll see you there in a sec.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you.